welcome everyone to the Business Growth Podcast. Today I'm here with Corinne from Abbey Accounting Automation. Welcome to the show, Corinne.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you, Leonard.
Likewise. Um, awesome. So I saw on the pre-show notes, you told me in terms of one of the key things, like goals for your business-wise, is making accountants' lives easier. So tell me a little bit more, like what does that kind of look like? What are you focusing on in
I
terms of
know.
that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my little thing that I just say all the time is I want to make accountants' lives better. When I came up with the idea and was starting to think about that, um, I knew I wanted to make my life better and the people that are working for me in my accounting practices. But then I suddenly thought I actually want to make all the accountants' lives better. So the good news with using the Abbey automation tool that we've developed is it's actually doing that in our accounting practices. So I'm seeing it firsthand. We've been using it for over a year now. So I'm so excited that I can actually make a difference in people's lives.
Okay. And what got you, like, how did you start that Abbey automation? Because I imagine that would have been quite a bit of work. So how did you get started with
Yeah.
that?
Oh, that's a good question. So a little bit of history around it. Clearly, I am a chartered accountant. I've been in practice for quite a long time. Um, and I do have a very entrepreneurial mind, and also I just love streamlining everything I possibly can, which I've done for many years in
Mm,
my own businesses and for clients.
yeah.
But 2 years ago, before all the AI hype as well, so this is quite interesting. I had an idea, like I just said, about making accountants' lives better and how I could do that. And I wanted to automate the compliance process. And then,
Mhm.
kind of 6 to 8 months later, we were already up and going with developing our product. All the hype came in. So I just wanted to keep going. And even to this day, now we have a roadmap and a further development plan for another 18 months. So we're at the beginning. We have Abbey version 2 live now. So we are going live in Australia at the end of October, so
Oh,
very
nice.
soon.
Nice. And I imagine it's like different compliances though between Australia and New Zealand, right? How do you kind of manage that? And also I imagine different businesses use different accounting softwares as well. So how do you kind of go about with all of
Yeah.
that?
So we are live in New Zealand currently. We've been live since March, and like I just said, we'll be live in Australia. So depending on what country you're in, you just log in and you choose the country that you're working in. We have spent myself and our Chief Product Officer, Mark, a lot of time creating each
Mhm.
work paper relevant to each country. So, of
Nice.
course, each country does things a little differently, or there's different work papers for different areas that are needed. So, we are the accountants. So, that's another big point of difference in that we are the accountants. So, we've been walking and we know the work and we do it to create everything in detail. So,
Mhm.
we are looking and eyeing up other countries. So, we'll have to repeat the
Mhm.
process again to understand what the tax legislation
Mhm.
is in each country. So
Mhm.
our product does and will integrate with ATO in Australia and IRD in New Zealand, so directly
Yeah.
into the tax offices to get the raw data, and we'll bring in all the information from the client's Blue Zero Ledger into Abbey as well. Also,
Yeah.
she reads source documents. So once we got all the data into Abbey and she does all the worksheets and reconciliations, that piece is all done within 30 seconds.
Nice. Yeah. And I think that could be a pretty big opportunity in the UK as well from the like accountants I've spoken in the UK, especially because they're changing reporting requirements for small businesses and they need to report like 5 times a year now as opposed to one. So yeah, that could be a really good next place
Next.
to look at.
Yeah, funny that we've got it in our roadmap.
Yeah.
So it'd be neat to connect with some accountants in the UK.
Hmm.
We to get us started in Australia, we have a group of pilot accountants that have been
Yeah.
testing and providing us the knowledge that
Hmm.
we need as well. So if there's anyone in the UK out there that wants to do a pilot program, you will be
Hmm.
well rewarded, and we'd love to come in and help the people in the UK as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think it could be, yeah, super valuable. Yeah, from like
No.
The person I was speaking with yesterday, he was saying, yeah, it was going to be a lot more because of
Yeah.
these new requirements. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And then obviously like there is like you make a really cool product, but then there's also the marketing and getting people to use the product, which is another matter. So how are you kind of going about like client acquisition and getting people to start using this new AI slash software?
Yeah, funny enough, isn't it? AI and automation is very tech-based and computer-based, but the
Hmm.
way that we've been reaching out to find pilot accountants is in person. So
Okay.
I will always say, using our product and those relationships we have with accountants, it's always best done in person.
Yeah.
So we are visiting practices in Melbourne in a couple of weeks. We've got a few
Okay.
lined up that we will be visiting. They've already had an Abbey demo, so really it's about training and supporting their staff so that they know how to use Abbey and those
Yeah.
people in those practices. Um,
Hmm.
so we also go to events like clearly Con. We went to Brisbane last
Hmm.
week, so we connect in bulk with a lot more people that way, and we can follow up with them later.
Yeah.
So we're going to events and just getting our word out there.
Hmm.
And we have found a marketing agency we'd like to work with. So, yeah, that's another avenue. But like you say, marketing's a tricky thing, and it's even trickier in
Yeah.
our accounting industry.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do feel having good conversations, though, with people is the best way to
Hmm.
go. But of course, I can't do all of that. So we're creating a team
Hmm.
to be able to talk to people directly, remotely, on the phone, whatever they would like to do. Mm.
100%. Yeah. And I find often like yeah, you can have the best product in the world, but if you don't have like a solid marketing, it
Mm.
doesn't really matter because no one's going to know about your product. So yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
so agreed. Yeah. The other thing that's interesting in our industry, which I have found over the years, especially when Xero was coming on all those years ago, is
Hmm.
accountants talk and they like checking in with each other. And I
Hmm.
call it the ripple effect. So,
Yeah.
they might have a problem and they might be at a social event or a conference or something or other. And they sort of talk to each other and go, oh, look, I've got this problem, and they go, oh, look, I've got the perfect solution for you. So that's the
Hmm.
other thing that happens with our industry is we support each other. So you
Mm.
only need to sort of have a nice coffee or a glass of wine with somebody and talk about what you're going through. And quite often they can
Mm.
support you and guide you in, your journey.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's definitely one thing I've found as well. Like again, speaking with the other people, they had like little communities of
Oh,
accountants, and then
so
they would
right.
meet like quite regularly, and then just discuss yeah what people are working on. So it was pretty interesting. It seemed like a pretty close knit community of yeah accountants and yeah business owners.
Yeah. I call the
Um,
language accountantese. So it's so
yeah,
cool when we went to Xero because when you get a bunch of accountants together, you kind of don't need to talk about a lot of things because we understand what you're talking about. The words
yeah,
compliance, some tax stuff, whatever
hmm
the tech stack, and all those words that we're all familiar with. We just want to
hmm
get really down to the nitty-gritty of the conversation. So
yeah.
you're right. Staying in the industry and just reaching out and talking to people, we can quickly get aligned with other accountants.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then what would you say would you see is going to be like the biggest challenge in rolling out Abby and kind of getting to those like goals that you've set for within?
Yeah, so always as a startup and a founder, the biggest challenge, we've talked about marketing, so trying to
Hmm.
figure out the best marketing strategies. So
Yeah.
we seem to be getting on top of that. But of course, the age-old wonder, funding. So finding some people that want to help fund us to grow and scale quickly is always a challenge. So that's the other thing we're looking for, those key connections that are happy to support us and go along the journey with us and talking about funding.
Hmm.
Um, and there is one other thing, which is a bit of a thing that seems to happen from time to time. So, like
Yeah.
I say, my mind's quite entrepreneurial and different things,
Hmm.
but the accounting industry is very structured. And I feel like it's like a
Mm.
straight line. You got to do it this way. And
Yeah.
when you're creating, and like we are, a solution, there's a wiggly line, a wiggly journey, and we just have to be patient with ourselves that we need to go on that journey to arrive at our final destination. So,
Hmm.
um, sometimes they say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But when you're creating, you need to go outside all your boundaries and just put everything on the table with ideas and solutions. So that's the journey that we've been on as well. So trying to decide what is the right solution for a particular thing. But it's cool. I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
Okay. And when you say like working in the like the wiggly lines, what do you kind of mean exactly with that?
Yeah. So what I mean is it's really about problem solving. So if there's a problem, how do we solve it for the accountant? Because
Right.
clearly for what we're doing, no one's actually done this before with regards
Yeah.
to a complete solution that does the reconciliations for you. And that's our point of difference. There's lots of work paper solutions where, like Xero work papers, where you key in figures and different things like that. But Abby does it for you and she tells you
Right.
what the variances are and where to look.
Mhm.
So the wiggly lines are about, okay, here's the problem, big or small, and how do we find a way to get a solution and get there? So
Yeah.
we do a lot of market research around that as well. So what are the
Mhm.
accountants wanting? Sometimes, like all of us, we don't know what we don't know. So
Mhm.
we are very lucky to work with some really talented developers. And I might say something and they're going, yep, I think we will be able to do that. So it's something that an accountant doesn't know that they can, we could do for them. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the
Okay.
wiggly lines are like, okay, we've got to get a job done. Here's the straight path, but how do we do that with regards to tech? Yeah,
Right.
and solve
And
all those problems.
yeah, and it kind of sounds like a little bit creating something for different businesses that have different requirements and trying to have Abby match those different things. Is that also what you kind of mean with that?
Yeah, I do. And one thing we've introduced is we have 23 standard work papers that are
Hmm.
created instantly once
Hmm.
you hit the calculate run Abby button. But we also have an option for the accountant to create their own customized work paper too, like you say, for
Yeah.
those things that a client might need that isn't really that standard, but they still need
Mm.
to create a work paper and things for that particular
Hmm.
situation.
Yeah, yeah, because I imagine different businesses need different things and then also have different accounting softwares that they
Requirements.
use
Yeah.
as well. So it's a couple of different customization elements, I guess, that goes into that.
Totally, totally. And I think just staying on that wiggly line, we've got developments coming in because we're listening really closely to our accountants and they're like, oh, it'd be great if it did that. Great if it did that. It'd be great if it did that. So we're listening very
Mhm.
closely and putting all
Yeah.
those on a development roadmap and trying to come up with solutions, especially if we hear it a few times, thinking, yeah, okay, someone's mentioned that before. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think what we're doing is creating something that hasn't really been done before. And
Hmm.
I can see over time and maybe in 2 years quite an expanded scope of Abbey and quite a full,
Hmm.
a completed solution,
Hmm.
including lots of stuff that's going to happen in the future at the front end, the compliance work papers, and we're just creating the client meeting insights and a client meeting agenda ready for the accountant to meet with their client based on insights that Abby's found. So we're
Yeah.
starting to increase our scope so that it becomes more of an end-to-end solution. So the
Hmm.
accountants just have one piece of software to work with instead of 4 to 6 apps, that kind of thing.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. And then another thing you said in terms of challenges, you said in terms of like the marketing. So I guess
Mhm.
what was like the game plan that you were thinking marketing wise, and also why do you feel that that could be like an issue potentially, or a
Um,
challenge, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. So the challenge part of marketing is don't forget I'm a mere accountant myself
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
probably a bit entrepreneurial, but certainly no marketing guru. So
Hmm.
the challenge is in particular, I mean, there's lots of marketing agencies, but we wanted someone to help us who was already in the accounting industry.
Yeah.
So, trying to understand what we would need specifically that's different from, say, other industries like retail and service industries and all those kind of
Yeah.
things to our accountants. So, the challenge, I think we're there now. We've got some cool stuff happening with regards to marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we're employing staff with feet on the ground in Australia to be account managers or customer success managers so that they can go out to accounting practices. And they're kind of like a brand ambassador as well, really. So
Yeah.
those people are sort of marketing on the ground in a way too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And I find trying to get the right agency is often a challenge in itself as well.
Yeah.
And then, so in terms of like your marketing strategy, so is that more going to be, like you said, like boots on the ground in Australia, and I imagine like salespeople, or what's kind of like specifically like the marketing approach that you guys are thinking to get
Yeah.
this like out
So
there?
yeah, totally. So it will be a mixture of different strategies.
Hmm.
We'll have feet on the ground and be teeing up practices to showcase too. We'll be
Yeah.
regularly attending our accounting industry events. So we've got a nice
Yeah.
calendar coming in for next year. So we're at these events to showcase what we're
Mm.
doing and just talk to people. We'll have a digital strategy too. So very much present on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
that will start to roll out as well.
Yeah.
Don't want to bombard people, but just, we'll be there. They can look at our stuff anytime. So
Hmm.
yeah, those kind of avenues really.
Mm.
Yeah, just the normal standard of avenues to get our message out there to our target market.
Yeah, yeah, and I saw you are pretty active on LinkedIn, always posting different things and like adding value. So it was like, yeah, I was like, okay, yeah,
Mm.
compared to like the average person I
Mm.
see. So yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that in practice already.
Yeah. So one to watch out for, we're exhibiting in Auckland City in New Zealand tomorrow and next 2 days. We
Okay.
have created, which I will put up on LinkedIn, so any listeners out there,
Hmm.
an Abbey song, and we have this beautiful dancer dancing in a red ballerina outfit
Hmm.
to showcase Abbey, but also just so the accountants can be entertained and they can just take a moment to just sit and watch and
Hmm.
yeah, not have to be bombarded by lots of information. Like you say, when you go to conferences, it all gets a bit overwhelming.
Hmm.
So watch
Yeah.
out for that on LinkedIn. I'll make sure that we have a recording go up and yeah, just to add a little bit of point of difference on Abbey,
Hmm.
a bit of
Yeah.
entertainment.
Okay. Yeah, and then I guess like on a higher level, what other key trends slash changes are you like seeing in the industry? I guess from a like accountant slash business advisor perspective.
So key trends and just talking to the accountants over the last few weeks, I think a lot of accountants, but not all,
Hmm.
probably a lot, definitely are open to looking at other strategies and products to bring into their business. Um, they are very much more aware of what they want to do and the fact that it's possible now. Yeah,
Hmm.
it sounds like those people are interested in streamlining in particular, getting away from all these hours doing compliance work and having a solution to take care of that. Um, the thing that I've been asking them though, and it's something we're facing in our accounting practices, okay, so we've freed up some time. What are we going to do with that? So that is actually the next conversation on how to go, right, compliance taken care of. We are now in an advisory space. How best do we serve our clients to actually properly interact with them? So it could be actually going out to the client's worksite and sort of having a look around and just creating closer relationships with those business owners. So it's
Hmm.
interesting in that, oh, okay, so we're going to streamline and create time and all of that kind of thing and capacity. But the next conversation is what next? So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
the bit
Yeah,
I'm
and that
excited about.
yeah, and that's also what I've heard. So it's basically as accountants, you're going more from the bookkeeping slash reporting role with now the introduction of a lot more
Mm,
automations to the more business consultant slash advisor role. Is that kind of
mm.
what you're saying?
Totally, totally, totally. There's just a thing about that I believe in from the beginning, and that is all of us accountants have
Mhm.
so much knowledge inside of us about business, and it doesn't matter what stage of your journey you're at, whether you're just could be a graduate, you've done your degree and all that kind of thing, and you move through and become quite experienced. And the thing that hasn't happened is us accountants haven't gone out into our business community and really, really shared that knowledge and expertise. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually think when we start to see that on a really big scale, it will lift our country's economy.
Mm-hmm.
Because these business owners, they might be good at what they do, making a widget, but they might not be that good at business and making good business decisions. So that's when
Mm-hmm.
we step
Yeah.
in. We need to work alongside them to go, hey, oh, I'm going to come in, I'm going to help you do whatever, no pressure, and but just getting closer to them and helping them make decisions based on the
Mm-hmm.
actual results and data and numbers and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we've kind of touched on it a little bit already, but what would you say is like the key things on how AI is going to reshape this industry? So you have said a little bit it's going to help in terms of like the compliance, a little bit with the reporting. Is there anything else that you're kind of seeing like big changes that are going to happen as AI keeps growing?
Yeah. Look, I'll answer that question in a sec. But the,
Mhm.
the big message I would say right now is don't be scared of all the hype and what's out there on social media and the news and things about AI is going to take everyone's jobs and all those things because
Yeah.
I don't believe it will. I actually think that funny thing is, like I mentioned before, it's actually going to bring us closer as people because the mundane stuff will be done, but we still need the humans in there to check everything off and
Hmm.
just not always be on our laptops and doing that kind of thing. I want to see people interacting more. We're going to get closer relationships with our staff members, with our clients, and other people in our industry. So, going to your question about what's the big thing about AI and what's coming and things, I think let's just all slow down and stop and just bring in AI as we want to bring it in and the pieces we want
Hmm.
in our lives because it's our choice.
Hmm.
And I don't see this big scary like tidal wave coming at us. I think, look, we've
Hmm.
got this, us humans, and we just bring in what we want to bring in, and we actually do have control of it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's kind of my thoughts about AI. Just relax. People like me and my business are bringing AI and automation to you as well, to use. So you don't have to create it yourself. You can
Yeah.
just tap into using pieces of the software in your businesses and just be happy that it gives the results that you want. But you don't have to create
Hmm.
the AI and automation if you don't want to. And most of us aren't. I mean, I'm not a developer myself, I'm just the ideas girl. So the
Yeah.
developers in that can bring that alive for everybody.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I kind of view it more as like having like a virtual assistant now that's
Yeah.
super quick with everything. Because sometimes AI can be very smart, but sometimes it can also be very dumb. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know, when you're trying to get it to do something and you keep telling it, don't do this, and it keeps doing that, or it like
Yeah.
hallucinates sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be powerful, but it also can be not the smartest at times.
Yeah, totally. And we also, we've got to think about ourselves and our own personal human lives and what we want out of life as well. So AI, like you say, will assist a lot of areas. It could be in business, it could be at personal, it could be at home or whatever it is. But we
Hmm.
just need to remember that we're in control of our own destinies and making our own decisions that are right for us at the time. So yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you, Leonard. It can make some good decisions and then it can make some terrible ones. And you're going,
Oh
gosh,
yeah.
what is this? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what would you say is kind of like the key challenges that you're seeing like accountants are facing slash going to be facing?
Always the key challenge for an accounting practice will be change. So going
Mhm.
through that change curve. So if you want to change your business model or your tech stack, and this is where we're getting trained up to help people as well. How is that going to affect the people in your accounting practice or your business? So we want to make sure that we tackle that change curve and that people element to go, I can just see a lot of accounting practices going, oh my gosh, she's bringing in another piece of software for us to use. It's really scary
Mhm.
for staff. So I think
Yeah.
one of the biggest challenges is for us, we're recommending that someone has an Abbey champion. We work with them at their own pace and just strategies to bring the staff on board. One of the great
Mhm.
things with our product is you don't have to switch like automatically. You can pick and choose the jobs to use on Abbey. So you can work in a hybrid model. So
Mhm.
some people might do outsourcing, some people might have other work paper solutions. So to transition over. The great thing about Abbey is you don't have to do the hard and fast change altogether if you don't want to. You can just choose jobs, couple of week, couple of month, whatever you feel comfortable doing, and get yourselves on board and trained up gradually. So to
Mhm.
suit your practice and what you want to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Getting people all on board onto using the new software or anything is
Yeah.
definitely always a challenge. And then you also said in terms of like changes in terms of like business model. So what did you kind of mean in terms of that, and why is that like a potential challenge?
Yeah, so I've actually just had a meeting this morning talking about the latest buzzword tech stack. So, what is your
Hmm.
tech stack in your business, and just making sure everything's integrated. So, you know, it's it's a bit scary when you talk all those kind of big words and all those technology things and stuff like that. So it's really important to take people on the journey with their business model, and so that
Hmm.
your staff understand how things integrate, what's going where and what's doing what, and why it's going to improve what you're doing. I think it's
Hmm.
really important that all the staff know and have a great knowledge of each product, and they get to use it in their own time. Just let them absorb it and learn everything on any piece of product, really.
Hmm. Okay. And in terms of changing business model, is that also more going from the, like we said earlier, the bookkeeping to the more business like advisory type of role? Do you also see that?
Definitely.
And what
Yeah.
would that kind of look like? Like how can people adapt to that? Where and then I guess also like
Yeah.
do you see it being a challenge as AI gets better that businesses be like, okay, actually we're just going to use this AI bookkeeper to do our books and we're not going to use an accountant
Oh,
anymore?
yeah, there's two questions there. So,
Yeah.
with the regards to the second question, I
Mhm.
believe like if you're using a product like ours or any product, the humans still have to review everything, and the partner does too. And the piece of work or the client job needs to be signed off by a partner. For those chartered accountants out there, they have to have a CPP, it's called Certificate of Public Practice, to be able to sign a job off that would be released to the client. So you always have, like AI can't do the human sign off unless, that's
Right.
completely illegal. So you're always going to have that human in there
Hmm.
um, to sign work off. Also, I think it definitely at this stage, it's going a step too far to think, oh, a piece of AI will just do all your accounting and bookkeeping for you, because the
Hmm.
clients don't understand the numbers and how that all works. Like they might just get a piece of work and it might be completely wrong because no one's checked it.
Yeah.
And, a whole bunch of reasons. So at this
Hmm.
point in time, I don't think that will happen
Hmm.
overnight. We still
Hmm.
need the humans to check everything, interact with the clients, and all that kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
it's just, yeah. And what was the first question? You asked me something else at the beginning.
So it was in terms of, so you said with the changing business model, is that also a little bit in terms of accountants moving more from bookkeepers to business advisors? Is that also kind of one of the things that you see it could potentially be a challenge as well for some, I guess?
Yeah. So moving from a bookkeeper and an accountant into sort of advisors,
Hmm.
definitely the biggest ingredient you need with that, there's two actually. One is experience and one is confidence.
Yeah.
So if you've got a piece of software to do something for you and you're like, okay, so I'm going to step into this advisory world, how confident do you feel about that and how well do you know your stuff?
Yeah.
So I do think those more experienced people in their practices have a responsibility and a role to help train those younger ones to bring them
Hmm.
through. But they'll get it quickly. One feature that we have in our piece of software is client insights, and it creates a client agenda meeting. So Abby will
Hmm.
actually tell you where the problems are and suggest ways, not just tell you, give you the problem, but also suggest ways to help that client solve those problems.
Hmm.
So it will be given to you, but you need to interact with the client to, get a resolution and an action plan on some of those things.
Hmm.
So I think experience and confidence is the two biggest ingredients to try and transition over into advisory.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and just I feel responsible doing that with my staff. So those more experienced and senior ones need to really go, okay, I'm going to really make this work and bring those people through.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, I don't have any other questions. Did you have anything else to add before we kind of like wrap things up?
Um, Not really. I suppose to the listeners, look, you can find me on LinkedIn if you did want to reach out and have any questions, and I'm assuming Leonard they will do the same with you.
Hmm.
We are in Australia regularly, so I'd love to meet some of you guys, and in particular, any UK accountants that are listening, reach out if you'd like to be part of our pilot program over there. We'd love to work with people. And
Hmm.
yeah, I look forward. It's funny in a year or two's time listening to people's stories about their journey and about
Mm.
how their businesses have changed. So we're at the beginning of it now, but how are they, looking back when you look in the rear view mirror? From 2 years ago, oh my gosh, we did that. Look at us now, we're in a
Mm.
completely different space. So it's
Yeah.
quite an exciting journey, but I'm not saying it's going to be easy, by the way.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how things are gonna change with all the different things that are happening at the moment. And then
Mm,
yeah, in terms, I'll put your LinkedIn below the video so people can yeah,
great.
get
Thank
that through
you.
there. Is there any way else you would like people to reach out if they would
Sure.
like?
There is an email address if anyone's interested. Corinne, Corinne at cheersabbey, CheersAbby.com, or reach out on LinkedIn, either or, and I'd love to hear from you. Really
Okay,
would.
awesome, cool. I'll put
Thank
that
you.
below in the show notes. Appreciate you coming on and sharing
You're
everything. It's
welcome.
been really insightful, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed.
Keep up the good work, Leonard. I love what you're doing, by the way. Love it.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Okay. All right.